EG's turn to ban.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation bringing you guys a game between Virtus Pro and Evil Geniuses. This is a best-of-one game in the quarterfinals of the Aegis Cup of Season 5. So this is going to be this game here. Evil Geniuses already well slotted to move on forward and advance into the Premier Cup, which will be Saturday and Sunday. But the Virtus Pro, not so certain. They're actually sitting currently at 5th place as far as last week's rankings, and now have to win this game to stay in it. If they do win this game here, they are well on their way to tying Fnatic, but yeah, they either have to get, I believe, 3rd place here, or 2nd or 1st would be fantastic for them. So we'll see it coming on through, but Evil Geniuses can knock them out with this game here if they do succeed. Either way, starting off, sorry for the delay, there was a remake involved, but now we are on our feet and going on into this game here. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I myself am Blaze. Here's Triumph Man. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, this is an important match for Virtus Pro, one way or another, whether it be by EG throw, the skin out of the teeth, or just a well-fought match. Virtus Pro must win this game or they are gone, and they will not be making it through to the Premier Cup on the weekend. And of course, EG right now, they were a little bit worried going initially because before the first 2 games started, they were in question of whether or not they would make 2nd or 3rd spot. The most important thing is they were guaranteed to make it through to the Cup, but you don't want to be in 4th seed because then you have to play Alliance in the first round, and nobody wants to do that, although with that, the way Alliance have been playing sort of recently, I don't know what they've been up to, maybe drinking too much, but since they've moved in their new house, they've been sort of underperforming a little bit, so it might have been just fine, but as it is, they will be moving forward in 2nd or 3rd spot regardless of how this match goes out tonight. But Virtus Pro, definitely a big match for them. But EG going to open up with an OD and a Naga Siren Bans, keeping both those out of Virtus Pro's hands. The question is whether or not we'll be seeing any crazy Tamar Wild plays with Weaver or not. Vengeful Spirit though, Blaze. An interesting pick, some neg armor in there, some decent saves and pushes available to her. I mean, the aura is nice, the wave is nice for pushing, and of course, you pick something like a Batrider against her, she's very effective in countering it.
Yeah, I love the hero in general. I'm just not sure why they prioritize it at this stage in the draft. Right now, Evil Genius is picking up a lineup that's very, very fitting for what they like to do. They have Darkseer. They're going to be able to run that on the offlane, and Visage will guarantee their tri-lane success. So, Vengeful Spirit, she has a lot of great positives, but the only reason that I can see picking up at this stage alongside the Furion is for hardcore pushing, going for maxing out that aura, going for Nature's Call, and just socking it to them very, very early on in the game. And so that's generally what Evil Geniuses needs to prevent, maybe picking up a Keeper of the Light in the next round if it's not banned out, and yeah, kind of follow through under that circumstance, because really, VS and the Nature's Prophet together are pushing machines, and you just have to add in one more solid pushing here, maybe a Leshrac or something, and you will be able to just chew on towers very, very quickly.
I mean, I don't think there's any problem with picking them up this early because it doesn't really give away too much. On the one hand, it telegraphs, yeah, we could go for a huge push lineup, but you know, conversely, it can be a huge bait. They say, oh yeah, we're going to try and push down your towers super quick with the Nature's Prophet, the Vengeful Spirit, the Aura, the Wave of Terror. But they could just then pick up a Queen of Pain and a hard carry and then another support, and suddenly it's a defensive, you know, let's stall until they get a huge farm on anti-mage kind of thing. So they could always do something like that, and it's because they have 2nd pick, there's no real reason to tip their hand early because they want to see what EG are doing. It's better if they can sort of get those counters in there, or pick up a hero, you know, to deal with a problem hero that EG grab, because they don't have to worry about stuff like the Wisp, the Bat, they're already banned out, the OD and the Naga are also gone, so they've got no huge priority picks here, unless they want to do something like, you know, they could, say, pick up a tree, but neither of these 2 teams really need to go all out in terms of just trying to grab that tree up ASAP. I mean, Tree's turned out to be a pretty good hero, but he's not the be-all end-all. It tends to be Tree plus another hero that's the bigger issue.
Sure. Big emphasis is going to be on level 1 spellcasters here. There's going to be a lot of fight starting off really early on. Honestly, I'm looking at VP's lineup and saying if they want to go for a level 1 Roshan, these are the 2 heroes to secure in order to make sure that that would work. I'm curious to see if that's what they're going to be going for. We'll see that very, very shortly if they pick up more auras and emphasis on negative armor. But for right now, they're just in a strong position to make sure they can fight early and fight strong, and then follow through maybe with like a Templar Assassin, or go for something that synergizes well with the negative armor.
I honestly would be very surprised if they went for Roshan level 1. It's a complete and utter all-in strategy. You know, you've got to go in there, you've got to make you charge in there, you try and make it work, and it's just so much potential for it to go badly. I'll be quite surprised with this, because Virtus Pro and EG, they're pretty evenly matched, and this is, like we said, a very important match for them. I don't think they'd throw it all. I don't think they'd be that crazy to just throw it all the way, like with a level 1, potentially throw it all the way with a level 1 Roshan. And I mean, level 1 Roshans, unless you use a really, really weird lineup to do it, or if you do something really cute, like, of course, Alliance, baiting it out with the Nature's Prophet death, it tends to be very difficult to get off successfully in a high-level game. That said, EG could throw it away, who knows. But Queen of Pain being picked up, they're still very flexible. They could do just about anything they want here. And EG, they banned the Lifestealer, so we won't be seeing any Nags bombs, but still, they don't really need to go down that route. The question is whether or not they're going to go late game, because, I mean, Visage, of course, Darkseid, Visage, again, both heroes very potent in that mid game. So Virtus Pro and EG, neither have really committed to any kind of lineup or style just yet.
Yeah. We have seen Evil Geniuses occasionally picking up the Enigma, and the Vengeful Spirit is a good preemptive counter for that. But I will note that if they can disable the Vengeful Spirit, they don't really have any other disables until Queen of Pain picks up a Scythe of Vice. So there is great effectiveness in channeled abilities in general if Evil Geniuses wants to pick one of those up there. I mean, we've seen Bane run with Visage occasionally, not to such great effect on Kaipis, but still, it is something that they can run together in a lane and make that work there. But yeah, beyond that, right now Virtus Pro looks really strong as far as early gank with the Global Teleport and the Magic Missile. Those to just scream, hey, from level 1 to level 3, we're just as dangerous as any other time. But Evil Geniuses bring in a little bit of punch themselves with Nyx Assassin. Even if they run them as a support, which is more likely, they still have a very powerful disable, some great nukes versus the 2 int heroes, and the big thing there is the Vendetta, allowing them to force Virtus Pro to buy Sentry Wards. If they don't, they can punish them for it with very powerful single target damage. So looking for that, and if you get a Nyx Vendetta in the middle of a fight, that guarantees a max out Soul Assumption. Like, that's just so much damage going across, physical and magical. So could be very instrumental in bringing heroes down before mechanisms and such can come on out.
And the question is whether or not Virtus Pro will pick up a hero that can sort of farm it up quickly. Nature's Prophet these days doesn't tend to go for the mech route. Most players will prefer to get the Midas, get the Shadow Blade, get a Hex or some kind of right click out there. But there's a Chen, that'll do the job. I mean, Chen, Hand of God mech, that makes them very durable indeed. And this looks like they've decided, you know what, let's push. Let's really, really try and put a lot of aggression on early. And if they're 5-man dodoing, it is a lot harder. It's a lot harder for EG to get those pickoffs, because if they're all working together, of course, Chen makes it much harder to burst them down. Of course, if they're all together, it's very easy to protect them against the Nyx initiation. Even if he takes a Solar Meat, gets those early levels, he won't be getting the super. He probably won't be able to manage the super fast Blink Dagger, because he's not like a bat who can just rush it so damn quick. He needs to get the. He really needs those arcanes or something to help him deal with these mana issues. So we'll see where they go. The question is what Virtus Pro are going to grab for their final choice. Are they going to go like really go all in, pick up something like a Juggernaut to help them push and be so that semi-carry, or will they sort of go, let's play a little bit safer, get something that performs a lot better in that late game in case things go badly, and just sort of try and hedge their bets. Push early, get all the outer towers, the tier 1s, the tier 2s, and then just try and strangle EG from there on out and just make sure their hard carry gets to the point where he can utterly crush them.
Yeah. I like the idea of the Juggernaut. One limiting factor is the Darkseer's Wall of Replica versus Omni Slash. You're just going to be hitting illusions like crazy. But still, you can dodge out of a lot of different things. So ignore Puck's ultimate completely and nullify a lot of his damage. Same thing with the Soul Assumption and the nukes from Nyx. So there's potential there. But they're going to go with the Spectre. And it's really interesting to see a Spectre picked up in a push lineup. It doesn't add much to the push. But what they don't get out of her then, they get from her later on. It's pretty much the gold that is obtained from pushing goes right into her pocket and fuels her potential to get big items very, very quickly. Maybe just go for the Drum Yasha Rush, as we've seen many times over, and really just dish out a ton of damage with that Desolate right click. So that's going to get scary as it moves on by, but if Evil Geniuses plays their cards right, they could get aggressive on it very early, and they only have so much to respond with. I mean, Queen of Pain, if she doesn't have her ulti, she isn't as useful, and Chen is very reliant on which creeps he obtains. So if they do get some good roaming, good ganks, maybe right when Puck hits 6, they might be able to kind of stifle her potential. But for right now, it looks pretty strong for Virtus Pro.
I mean, the final question is whether or not EG want to just sort of go, ooh. Faceless Void for the late game, definitely very powerful. I was going to say they might try and go all in to pick up something like they can be offensive and go for the Event's Trial, because with Chen in the jungle, he doesn't come out as quickly as Enchantress does, and Vengeful Spirit can only do so much in the lane with her short range. She's not that great at defending. A carrying Spectre, of course, just cannot stand up on her own, whereas if you have something like a Gyrocopter, he can defend himself somewhat. With Rocket Barrage, it's hard to jump in on top of him, but with that Faceless Void, I don't think we'll be seeing anything offensive. I think they're just going to bunker down and try and get farm themselves.
Yeah.
The question is like how long they can manage it for, because Well, they don't have that much team. Like their team fight is pretty much all tied up in Puck. Same could be somewhat said for Tamar Wild. The Queen of Pain carries most of the team fight, but on the other hand, we do have Chen in the mix, and of course he makes his team so durable. And I don't think they have the burst. Aside from Bambo, I don't really think they have the burst to drop people if Chen has the early mech. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to see Chen play fairly passive. He's not really going to assist the lanes all that much. If Queen of Pain falls behind, I think he'll just bunker down and just say, let's get that mech out, and then catch up on tower gold.
Yeah, definitely could be kind of in the cards on their strategy. I want to highlight on the fact that they picked up the Spectre at the very end of the draft. Very important not to get your carry countered prematurely when you kind of go for that last pick there. They were forcing so that EG, their only option was to pick a number 1 hero. The only option was to pick up Fear's carry. But if they had picked up the Spectre much earlier in the draft, like around the time the VS was picked up or even the Chen, instead of going for a Nyx Assassin, they could have gone for something like an Earthshaker. And then when you're vacuuming everybody together and you have the illusions all up and at them with the Haunt, if they can go in and get the Earthshaker in position, that just screams Echo Slam, huge damage potential, maybe even like a 2-second rampage. But fortunately, they did save the Spectre draft until the very last second, and that made them a little bit harder to predict. And EG responds with their defensive setup and are just going to put out pressure later when they are initiating on their terms. So the initiation, of course, they're going to try to get big vacuum walls up and maybe a Chronosphere in that general area so that they can disable everybody and just let Faceless Void do a thing, especially if you can get an early Battle Fury, which they seem to be pulling him a heck of a lot of regen in order to accomplish easily.
I mean, yeah, Earthshake is nice. I don't really bill it that heavily against Spectre just because it's hard. Like, his fissure's not great against Spectre just because she can pass right over the top of it. And the other thing is, like, using Vacuum to try and group the illusions. The problem is to do that, you've got to group your own heroes to get the illusions near each other in the first place, and that's something you don't really want to do against the co-op. That'll end in tears. I do like what you mentioned, the Darkseer and the interaction with Darkseer and Faceless Void, of course, is great for vacuuming people in the ults. It really just makes it so much more lethal and just gives it a bigger coverage. You've got to be really careful of that, especially if Darkseer goes for a fast blink dagger. I think that's something that's often overlooked, the initiation value of that. But between the vacuum, the Dream Call, and as well as the Faceless Void, I think they've got a lot of team fight potential. This is what's going to make it hard for Virtus Pro to push in early. So I think they'll just go for the early tier 1s. They may even struggle to take the tier 2s just because of the threat there from Darkseer and Puck early on. Not so much a Chronosphere, but just Dream Coils and Waning Rifts, and of course Vacuum setting them up is going to be incredibly painful as well. So I think we may even see Virtus Pro to settle for tier 1s and then just try and get a little bit of extra map control and just get Spectre up and running. Because of course, Void does take quite some time to get rolling.
Absolutely, yeah. He definitely needs to build up. Same thing with her. So, in general, it's going to be which supports provide the most gold gains. And early on, of course, in the laning, I think that the Darkseer is going to be able to frustrate Illidan a lot more than the Prophet could frustrate the Faceless Void, especially if he's trying to go for the offlane. Just because the Nyx Assassin, the Visage, could shut down KSI over and over again. And that's why he's been pooled some clarities, and he's going to rush up the Basilius and try to play a core Prophet with a early Midas pickup. So KSI, ignoring the bottom lane, going to go hard jungle, alongside Chen, is going to make it kind of limiting as far as how much they can farm, but it can work out for them. Though it looks like KSI, at least for the moment, is heading down bottom with all that mana regen.
Yeah, they could put him... I mean... It looks like, yeah, he might go down there for a couple of waves. They pulled him in because the thing is, one of the offlane's jobs is not so much to farm, not even get levels. One of his big jobs is to dick with the opposing supports and waste their time all day. And something you can do with the Treants very heavily, just make them spend a lot of time chasing these little buggers around and just waste so much time that they end up under-farmed, under-leveled just off the back of that. And it's something, obviously, I mean, Bulldog is probably one of the best in the business at it. We've seen exactly how effective he is with the micro and just how much trouble he can cause just with a bear or with the Treants. So he's probably just going to sit up here for quite some time, like a couple of minutes, just do that, and then get a recovery Midas, and then get back to where he needs to be, because they can't really put him in the jungle with Chen. Chen really needs these camps quite heavily, so they can't really share this. So for the moment, they're just going to say, KSI, you'll catch up later. We'll just make sure you put BDiz as well as the Nyx behind.
Yeah. And the big thing KSI is accomplishing down there is blocking off the pull camp over and over again. He's making sure there's always a Treant in position, that these neutrals will never spawn. Even without a ward, there's nothing that can be done. BDiz will get some golden experience off of a free pick off there, but he's not going to be able to unlock the pull camp itself. And that means eventually unless there's some really good deny play coming in from Fear, which I wouldn't doubt. But if there isn't, then there is going to be a creep wave matching down on the tier 1 tower, and that's going to give KSI some early farm.
Yeah, we also got to keep in mind that Demon is going to be getting some heavy farming here. He's just going to be stacking and pulling and just making sure he gets this Darkseer farm early, because if anything's going to help him stand up to any early aggression for Virtus Pro, it's going to be the fast mech from Demon. That'll really help him stay in these fights. But it looks like Tamar Wild going to be taking on the Puck. Puck just a little bit ahead there on last hits 9-0, though Queen of Pain is getting the denies in there as well. And Puck, looks like Puck, in fact, they've got very similar item builds. I think they were both pulled regen, both opening up with the Null Talismans, but they will just be bringing out their bottles in a second. Queen of Pain just a little bit faster to hers on its way out now, and she does have a flying courier too. We've got to keep that in mind, because unfortunately, the supports on the Radiant side are struggling. So even though she's taking the harass, she's just going to heal up now, and it's going to be just fine.
Yeah, so right now, it's kind of back and forth. JO seems to be trading more effectively when TMW tanks up the creeps, but in general, in certain positions, TMW still has plenty of regen to work with, and with that early bottle and the courier, actually, he has the gold for bottle. Now he's going to finally pick it up here and send it on its way through the courier, which is still currently ground-based. But dodging out, trying to dodge out Shadow Strike or Scream, either way, phase shift on cooldown, now he's going to take some harassment. Meanwhile, Demon farming up on the creep camps, just going to let them respawn here, clearing out both the western camp and the easy camp very, very quickly. Means that he can go all the way back to base, heal up, and not miss a single spawn. So, pretty good position for him to be in. But meanwhile, not too much experience coming in for EG supports. Again, this creep hole will not unlock, and at best, they can kill off a tree hunter too. It's just a bad position for them to be in.
Yeah, it's really, and you can notice the effect that he's having there. Like, sure, Nature's Prophet is level 1 with 0 experience, but this is fine, because he's leaving, it's one hero under level for 2. It's a great trade for them. And now Nyx has gone, screw this. In fact, he's going to lane, and he's going to leech experience off Fear, which, not the worst thing in the world to happen, but it's definitely not, it's not their number 1 ideal plan for them to have come out of this. And it's going to really put Bambo behind in terms of being able to put pressure in sort of the early, just after the laning phase. It's really going to prevent him from just getting out those early Vendetta ganks and just causing havoc. And it's going to allow Virtus Pro to play more aggressively because of that. See JO being forced back. Tamar Watt actually getting aggressive here. Needs to be careful though. Jumps back. Doesn't get hit by the Waning Rift. We'll take some auto attack harassment. Also managing to dodge the orb as well. Just going to use that to CS. Meanwhile though, of course, up in the top lane, Illidan is farming away. He's pretty much neck for neck with Fear there. In terms of CS, it looks like Demon has decided to transition up to this top lane to try and take some farm. And of course, now he's got some extra levels there as well. The double Iron Shell is super effective in terms of forcing Illidan back. It does burn out so much damage.
Yeah. So, in this situation here, they are sacrificing the Furion. Like, he's not going to be very large impact. He's run out of clarities. He only has 300 gold. He is level 1. But as long as they can buy time for Spectre, then they're going to feel very, very comfortable, as we do see already phase boots up on Illidan, and he's going to be moving in towards his next big thing very, very shortly. But in contrast to that, we look at Betas being only level 1, same thing, Bambo is just leeching up to level 2, maybe 3, but the point is that they cannot go for like massive Vendetta soul assumption ganks on this hero while he's farming safely in his jungle. It's just because of Furion sacrificing his own golden experience and making sure that he stays alive constantly. First blood has yet to be spilled, and on top of that, there is no threat coming in against Spectre anytime soon.
Holy crap, look what Tamar Wild is.
Wow.
That is definitely... Tamar Wild, I mean, he's known for being super aggressive, but he charges and drops the ult as well. JO, one more auto attack, jumps across, will go down, and there's your first blood. Tamar Wild. My god, is he ridiculously aggressive. Going to heal up now with a bottle as well, and that definitely goes sour for Puck.
Yeah. Very well played there. He's been doing some really, really cool moves there, and for using the Shadow Strike, forcing the phase shift, and the fact that he did have his ultimate picked up at level 6 allowed him to just guarantee that he would do enough damage there. And he's been covering runes very effectively. He's just been doing exactly what he needs to do to make that magic happen. And now he gets to go ahead and rank a Blink, and then he's going to be more aggressive, faster roaming, more ganking. Meanwhile, Demon farming up the mid lane, taking some experience where Puck cannot, but that gives opportunities here for Virtus Pro to make some roaming ganks happen with a single Centaur and a magic missile. I'm not sure if they can do anything to Fear though, as he has already acquired his ultimate, so they might just be transitioning back to mid to try to put more pressure on Puck.
And that, or they could just gank the jungle, like just cause some trouble. I mean, obviously Furion is now struggling to keep the supports under control. In fact, he's just transitioning. He's going to get his own farm happening. So now it's Chen's turn. He's going to get stuck in, and they've managed to luckily get in here before Beaters scouts them out. As it looks like they're going to jump in on top of him. We're going to suspect to jump in. There's a magic missile. Sentinel Stomp coming in as well. No, doesn't even use it. The auto attack damage is enough to finish him off after the magic missile. And there we go, a second kill. And now Chen is going to be taking off the slack that Nature's Prophet is leaving there for him. And they're just going to get these ganks and just cause trouble. And now, in fact, they're going to flat out invade the opposing jungle. And there's just no room for EG supports at the moment.
Yeah.
Beat is only level 2. That's it.
Yeah, very dangerous.
Compare that to Vengeful Spirit, level 5. Chen is level 5, almost has his ult up and running. They need some arcanes, though, to sustain this. That's definitely where their weakness is at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So they're controlling the mid lane, locking that down pretty well with Team W's big plays. Up on top, although the Darkseer is frustrating, the Ring of Health will deal with a lot of that Iron Shell harassment, so Illidan will be able to CS as he pleases. And helping out with that kill down bottom, they are setting up shop so that Smile and NS can just keep in this position, keep playing aggressively, and now that they have all this vision, they got 2 great Dire Wards, one of them even blocking, but most importantly, getting vision to gank it up, and Nyx Assassin has no Carapace, and that's a huge mistake here. The Magic Missile comes on out, he will get dropped down, but I think Smile is wary. If he does Carapace the missile, that's a lot of damage turned on around. Fear, though, getting clapped on up, getting the Magic Missile, they do get enough damage, there's a right click. There's no Chronosphere to come on across, instead, they're just getting completely obliterated here. Puck will be able to clean up 2 supports, but it does halt that carrier's farm. He doesn't even get to use the Midas he just got. And that is a pretty big deal, though. Nice body blocks from Bambo. Keeps Beatus alive, just barely, by the skin of his teeth. He is surviving. He was under 10 HP, and the Centaurs could not get a piece of him. But even so, they got what they came for. They got the kill in the
Holy
face.
crap, they're still going.
They're trying, but I don't think they're actually going to connect with him.
No, he will get away there, but definitely Virtus Pro, I mean, it's sort of even... in fact, there we go, the Midas coming out, going to take the Chen's creep. But as it is, they picked off Fear. Definitely a big blow for him, and that could have gone so much worse. Just he perfectly timed those stuns. Absolutely brilliant, preventing him from getting the Chronosphere. If the Chronosphere dropped, that was just 2 dead supports, no doubt about it. They did at least pick off Spear, but at the same time, Puck picked up 2 kills for himself, and it's definitely going to help him recover from Queen of Pain, but she gets him again with the Sonic Wave. He will jaunt away, though, just in time. Queen of Pain only with a rank 2 blink, can't follow up, also falling very low on mana there, but it will force him back to base to heal yet again, and that is wasted time.
Now they're trying to unlock the pull down on bottom, but that ward is in place. They're not going to be able to access that unless they get another better play sentry. But while they know that they're searching around trying to unlock that pull, because of the Dire Wards that, again, are still in place, they're able to get a quick little pick off Scream and right click with that illusion, actually Haste Ring that was just picked up by Queen of Pain. I'm not sure. She had illusion and haste. Wow.
Yep.
Strong.
Almost as bad as Illusion and double damage, but not quite. 2 runes always nice, but it looks top lane though. Illidan now in some trouble. They should be able to pick him on. Hand of God comes into play here, and it looks like he may outrun them. Takes a hit though from the Illusion Orb. Continuing to jump back there, he will be just fine. He does have only one level of Dispersion. Most of it is in Desolate there. Only 2 levels in Spectral Dagger. So yeah, he's gone full AFK mode and just sort of helps out with the ult every now and then. Has not popped it. Is up and ready if they do want to gank bottom. In fact, Chen, NS has taken his Chen all the way back to the bottom lane. This is definitely, like, he's really leaning heavily on these wards to keep him safe. The fact he's down here by himself, he's boxed in on all sides, does need to be very careful. Even Vengeful Spirit's not here. She's picking up some levels mid, sees a free lane, says, you know what, I'm going to take that, but she may have overextended. No, Queen of Pain, he jumps in, there's a Scream, and we see the damage come down. Spectre drops a stun there. It looks like, Vengeful Spirit drops a stun, Spectre drops her ult, and haunts in, and Illidan will take the kill too. That is an expensive loss there for EG. Sure, it was just Beaters, but they gave the kill away to the Spectre, about the last thing they want to happen indeed.
Yeah, Demon might be able to get a pick off on Illidan here. He doesn't have the Spectral Dagger up and available. He does have the Phase Boots and the Vanguard, but the wall whiffs. Demon unable to connect with his ultimate, and that means that Illidan's going to be able to happily walk away. He's just been surviving through so many different things that Phase Boots really pay in dividends as he can get away from things like the Puck gank up on top, and NS with his really, really good Hand of God. Can't wait to see how survivable this guy is going to be with the mechanism. This guy just, they want to gank him so badly, but he's just doing so well in GPM, and they can't slow him down.
Honestly, I think even if the wall connected, that wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah.
He would have, like, look at his health. It's huge. I know a lot of people in chatting me freaking the hell out, going, what the hell? What is this Vanguards on spec? This is a noob item. This is a terrible item. It's actually pretty decent. I saw this, I'm pretty sure it was DK versus Tongfu. Burning picked up an early Vanguard. Now, what this did for them, as we'll come back to in a second, there was a potential gank over here. Queen of... Oh, no, that's Bambo. Bambo gets swapped. They get the stun now. Queen of Pain's in play now. Drops a Scream. I don't think it hit, though. Chronosphere's down. It's on Smile. Smile in some trouble here. Should be... No. Oh, wow. Solar Assumption lands. Beatty's doing a ton of damage. Takes some return. Gets sent home by Chen. Queen of Pain gets Dream Called now. Blink still 4 seconds away. She may be in some trouble. Sonic Wave is up. Drops it. Beatty's gets dropped down now. They don't have any more stuns. They will get the silence though. That may be what they need. Then we go slow. Comes down. The bash comes down as well. Blinks again. Tame My Wild playing it ballsy. Runs for his life now. And Smile is TP'd back in. They've got him back up. But actually, they're going to keep going. No, maybe. Yeah, Fear has no mana, actually. They might actually gun for this. And he is going to back off. But going back to my point, Burning did this. And what happened was, when Spectre came under pressure, he just ducked in the jungle and started farming that. And Tongfu the game after, I'm pretty sure it was Tongfu, they tried to Spectre themselves, but they didn't get the Vanguards. And when their Spectre came under pressure, she couldn't get any farm. And they lost off because of that. They got completely crushed. Whereas Spectre for DK, even though they were losing initially, she got the farm she needed and she got back into play, got to the point where she was strong enough. And the other point I want to make, with the double heals from Chen, that scales. That Vanguard suddenly scales so much more effectively. It's not about the health regen or the raw health, just the raw health. It's the damage block as well. Suddenly, when you're throwing in an extra, 500, 600, 700 health, it is such a huge deal to have all of that extra damage block all over that every single time. So I do not disagree with the Vanguard first item choice at all.
Yeah, and on top of that, it scales very well with dispersion. The blocks occur post-mitigation, so that's going to be very beneficial in general. You can just tank up all this harassment. There's 2 people up top trying to put pressure on her. I mean, yeah, it is only a level 4 Visage, but a Necrolik nonetheless. But yeah, there just doesn't really bat an eyelash at it. It's still farming away. Illidan currently topping CS at 72, and loving every minute of it. And even if they put pressure out there, they can't guarantee the kill. She'll be able to haunt reality away. And in general, just EG cannot pin her down. So they have to change their strategy and start pushing S5, which kind of plays into VP's hands pretty well at the same time, since Chen almost has the... Oh no, he went for Arcane Boots. Delayed it a long time, but ended up deciding on the Arcanes instead of rushing the mech out straight.
I agree with the choice there, because they don't need the mech that desperately right now. What they need is sustain the pressure down in this bottom lane, and they can't do that without the Arcanes. The Arcanes helps Vengeful Spirit out so much, as well as himself. Like, we've seen Chen walking around in this jungle with, like, bugger all mana. He really needs it quite badly, and I mean, they need it. If they want to keep the pressure up, they need to have that ability to just continue to refuel their mana without having to duck back to the fountain all the time. So they're going to put this pressure on the bottom tower. Bambo's still skulking about. I mean, this is really what prevents... Like, look at Bambo's mana pool. He cannot spam these stuns, whereas anytime Vengeful Spirit gets a beat on someone, she can just go for it. Dodges a stun there. In fact, that only hits the Wildkin. Actually, that does cut down the amount of damage they can deal from that, but it looks like they will pick off the tower anyway. And now Bambo in a bad position. He does have Carapace, but that's all he's got left. He's already expended pretty much all of his mana. He's just going to try and drag him around. Then we're going to have Spectre. It looks like she's going to haunt him. Queen of Pain jumps in as well. Spectre does reality in now. There we go. Picks off Beaters as well. Although actually NS is going to get the kill for that. And now it looks like Fear drops a Chrono to try and keep himself alive. But however, he's boxed in yet again. Tamer Wild comes around. Going to try and TP out. Will manage to... No, not quite. Blink. And there you go. The Fan of Knives comes out. That screen, the fact it's instantaneous, is such a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Just kicks out the damage so damn quickly.
Yeah, one thing that was really, really a big factor there was Faces of Void wanted to go offensive, was looking for an opportunity to go in and get a Chrono off and 3 people and turn it around, but his health bar got shredded in moments. He actually, when he got haunted, of course, he was taking the damage from the pure damaged right clicks of the illusion with the Desolate active, but on top of that, they Wrath of Natured him. He took one of the last strikes of Wrath of Nature, didn't backtrack any of this, and just got obliterated. Now Demon tries to come on and make something happen, but gets shredded before even Queen of Pain Scream connects. Like, that high roll test of faith, it's played out twice over, and I don't even know what he was thinking there.
Demon, don't worry, I've got this, guys. I've got this. Throws the wall, gets absolutely destroyed. Ouch. And who got sent home there? They just sent KSI back home to heal up, and he can actually, this is smart, send KSI home, he'll heal up, and then teleport out immediately. And here's this pressure, plus the global presence that they have from Virtus Pro, definitely playing strong at the moment. And teleport mid, looks like Queen of Pain's going to jump in there, and she's going for an early BKB. I don't disagree with this. I think this is fine. It's just going to help her deal with Puck. And she's not going to have to worry about getting jumped by Puck anymore. She can just immediately get out of the shenanigans that he tries to cause. And of course, if she can just buy herself a little bit of time, she can rely on being healed up by Chen.
Yeah, so in this position here, VP looking really, really strong. That Spectre plus Nature's Prophet combo is very, very powerful, even though Nature's Prophet did fall behind in experience. Now kind of rubber banding a bit since he picked up his Midas around 12-13 minutes, is kind of making up for lost time. Whereas we were talking about the supports of the Radiant side, and Bambo and Beat is by far the lowest on the map. Chen and VS are actually at level 9, which allows them to go on in and just try to maul on Roshan, no problem at all. We actually look at the armor count on Wild Wing Ripper. He's sitting at 19. He has the ice armor, which slows down Roshan's auto attacks. He has Buckler, Basilius. He has his own aura, toughness aura. It's just too much armor right now. They take it out without taking any damage.
Yep, they'll clean it up very easily. And I really feel this game has come down to the fact that supports on EG, there's nothing they can do to rotate effectively. They couldn't cause any real danger because, it's Visage and Nick's level 1. His Impale's not great, but couldn't really do a whole lot. They didn't rotate. They instead insisted on trying to get those pulls, which just really was not happening. And KSI has just stuffed them up so hard with the amount of the amount that he slowed them down in that lane. Sure, it pretty much cost him his early game, but he's back on track. And this is the thing with the recovery Midas. It's not just about catching up with gold. It's more about catching up on experience. It does give him a huge boost, and he has managed to get back up there. And we consider the fact that he's out-leveling the supports that were previously ahead of him. It's definitely a good sign as you see the Impale coming out, just trying to slow us down a little bit. Wildwind, the Wildkin just going to throw out the Tornado, and they're just going to spend the ult there from Spectre, just to harass him back. Does a considerable amount of damage, and also spots him up as well for the Wrath of Nature. There we go, tier 2 mid down, Blaze.
Yeah, easily pick off there. They almost got the kill on the Visage, but he was able to TP away. Jo is on the run, but no problem at all getting away from Illidan. Still popping off that ultimate, just drops people so low that they're afraid to really engage in any other position. Now we do have some lifesteal on Face's Void, so Fear might be able to not only sustain past illusion damage, but also try to go for a kill with a Mask of Madness, but it's a long time coming, and he's actually in a pretty bad spot right now, being pinned in. Trying to go for a solo kill on Smile, but here comes NS and put him in a rough spot. Man, those Test of Faith rolls. I don't know if NS has gotten less than, 75% of the maximum roll, and now we actually see Create a Pain Team W trying to pursue to finish off Fear. Unfortunately gets caught on the cliff, misjudging the haste movement speed, and is stunned out pretty hardcore, so not exactly the position you want to be in, but either way, those Tests of Faith have really been doing work, shredding through HP left and right.
Just that, and I haven't seen Fear get a really obnoxious backtrack just yet either.
And that's maxed. Holy crap, I thought he had 1 point in it. He's maxed out his backtrack and hasn't gotten a single good one off. Oh, I'd be so upset, but that's RNG Dota for you. Team W taking some hits from the tower, but there's the hand of God, or the mechanism to keep him up and at him, and they can go for 5-man Dota pretty hard. Darkseer, though, is headed in that direction. Demon really needs a good wall. He has max vacuum, rank 1 wall. It's all on him.
I'm not convinced, even with a really good wall and vacuum, they can win this. With the mech up in 30 seconds, Hand of God, and the fact that Queen of Pain, she's got an Aegis. Yeah. She's got an Aegis, she's got a BKB. I don't really see them killing that all that easily, and the fact that Spectre almost has a Manta style. She's 500 gold away from that. She's so damn close. Already has a Vanguard's Yasha. She is tough, and there we go. Vacuum comes in. Chrono drops the Chrono. Only catches, does get the 2 birds. It's only got Spectre. Spectre doesn't even care. She's just sitting there. Doesn't give a damn. Actually just moves forward again. Demon trying to get the hell out of here, but he's been spotted up now. The illusions have found him. There we go. Reality gets swapped back. They can just box him in there. Gets corned to shreds, and that's a team down. It doesn't matter what they drop, and GG is called. Honestly, I'm not even really blaming EG here. They didn't make any huge, massive cock-ups in terms of throw potential. This is just Virtus Pro. They drafted a really good lineup and played it well. Yeah. What they did with KSI on the bottom was fantastic. I honestly feel if anything EG should have done differently is just gone, screw this pull it wasn't happening. I feel like they should have just rotated and gone and put pressure on Spectre. Or put pressure on Spectre, or put pressure, even just go on mid, and just go on mid, and if Nyx goes mid and just starts spamming Mana Burn at Queen of Pain, it's going to really give Puck an edge. Might drain a little bit of experience from Puck, but as we saw previously, as long as Puck gets a few rolling ganks off, he'll catch up. It's no big deal.
Yeah, and the big difference as well, obviously the supports were a huge factor with NS and Smile being all over the board and making a huge difference as far as things go and building space for Illidan. But along with that, the carries, when it comes down to it, one was extremely tanky, could take all the punishment you could throw at it, and the rest were, and Fist of Wood was the opposite of it. I mean, he not only didn't have any good raw HP items other than treads, but he also had a Mask of Madness, which he popped in the last fight. You saw how quickly he dropped. He went in, he chronoed, he right-clicks an iced up Ogre for some reason, and then slowly just trods on over, only to get immediately Wrath of Nature, Test of Faith, all these nukes come out instantly, doesn't backtrack anything, and in fact takes 30% increased damage from Mask of Madness. It's just in this situation, Fear was the epitome of a glass cannon. Spectre, on the other hand, could take all the torture they needed. And so when it came down to it, Evil Geniuses got torn apart every single time through burst damage through Queen of Pain and Chen. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, there was not much they could do about it at all. I I feel if you're going to use Faceless Void, you really need the AoE to work with them, or you feel you need the counter initiator. As we've seen, like in the past, it's been used very effectively against stuff like Nagasana. It's a really big counter initiation / initiation tool. Whereas I don't feel like they needed it this game. You had Puck to open up, you have Darkseid to follow up. You next, I feel like they could have just if they picked up something like a Jarkup, they would have been in a much stronger position. Obviously, because Faceless Void they could have even just said, you know what, and just left Jarkup down the bottom lane by himself and just let him do whatever he needed to do down there. And then you've got Pucks opening early game, like you've got Pucks during the early mid game, you've got Pucks opening with a Dream Call, the Waning Rift, and you just follow up with Cooldown. That does a lot of damage on its own. And as we've seen, like even when you're being crushed as hard as Kaipi, you can hold off just based on your sheer nuke potential. Whereas Faceless Void jumps in, Chronos, and Spectre sits there laughing at him, doesn't give a damn.
Exactly. So yeah, in that position.
But just quickly, take a look at the difference in support items for Nyx Visage versus the supports on Virtus Pro. That's pretty painful. I mean, that's what that early farm for a support really does. It just gives you such huge tempo and control over the match.
Yeah, and that's really all on KSI there. He was able to lock it down at the cost of his own progression. He was able to nullify the effectiveness of Visage and Nyx, and we have seen time and time again on an underleveled Visage is not really making waves, and same thing with the Nyx Assassin here. B-Diz and Bambo, rough game for them, and as a whole, Virtus Pro just playing a very, very smooth one. So they progress on forward, and that keeps them in the running for the Premier Cup. They're not guaranteeing even the tiebreakers just yet. What they have to do here is if they win the next game, which will be a little bit later, I guess 1 full hour from now, that'll be the semifinal game versus Roxkiss. If they win that game, they guaranteed knock out Fnatic and take their slot, I believe, 4th in the Premier Cup standings. If they don't, then they go into the 3rd, 4th decider. And if they win third place, they get a tiebreaker. If they lose, then they are out themselves, and Fnatic advance is guaranteed. So that's what it comes down to. But we have one more match before we get on into that, and we're going to be looking specifically at Mouse Sports versus Quantic. Not exactly for necessarily for the change-up of the rankings, but still for a lot of pride. Quantic want to show that they have a lot in them. They've taken on Mouse Sports multiple times before, and it's worked out for them previously, but Mouse Sports, obviously, up against Alliance,